Hi, my name is Anna, and today I'm going to talk to you about emergency contraceptives. There is a bit of controversy surrounding this form of contraception, and I hope to answer some of the common questions that people have concerning emergency contraceptive pills and address some of the myths surrounding them. Some of you may be unsure about what emergency contraception is. The actual definition states that emergency contraception is a hormonal contraceptive method that helps to prevent pregnancy after an unprotected act of intercourse. You may know this method by the name the morning after pill or by some of the brand names such as Plan B, Next Choice, or Ella1. Why use emergency contraceptives? There are many reasons people use them, but one of the most important is that it's the only contraceptive method that is to be used after sex. The sooner you take them after sex, the more effective they will be at preventing pregnancy. So if you had unprotected sex or your contraceptive methods failed, emergency contraception is a good backup. It's also important in the cases where you may have been forced to have sex or you don't remember whether you had sex or not, like after an alcohol blackout. I'm sure you're wondering how emergency contraceptive pills work. They have a relatively large dose of levonorgestrel, a hormone that prevents or delays ovulation. This hormone also creates an environment within the uterus that makes it difficult for sperm to travel through. It is important to realize that emergency contraceptive pills do not abort already existing fertilized eggs. If you are already pregnant when you take the pill will have little to no effect. This is why it's important to take it as soon as you can after having unprotected sex. Emergency contraceptive pills do not in any way protect against STIs. If you had unprotected sex, you should probably get tested for STIs in addition to taking an emergency contraceptive pill. There are three brands of emergency contraceptives. The first I would like to talk about is Plan B. Plan B comes in two pills. The first pill should be taken as soon as you can, and the second should be taken 12 hours after the first. The timing is crucial. Plan B is only effective up to 72 hours or 3 days after unprotected sex has occurred, and if the second pill is taken more than 12 hours after the first, then it is far less effective. If you vomit within the first hour of taking the first pill, it will be necessary to start the process over to be fully effective. Plan B is available over the counter in most pharmacies. Next Choice comes in one pill form and should be taken as soon as possible after unprotected sex has occurred. It is also effective up to 72 hours or 3 days after unprotected sex occurred and is also available over the counter at most pharmacies. Ella1 also comes in one pill form. It is used widely throughout Europe and is gaining popularity in the US. It prevents pregnancy up to 5 days after unprotected sex occurred. Instead of levonorgestrel, Ella1 has ulipristal acetate as the active ingredient, which serves the same function but stronger. Ella1 needs a prescription, but is available for purchase online. So, how well do emergency contraceptives work? The perfect use failure rate is 25%, and the typical use failure rate is anywhere between 25 and 40%. It all depends on the interval between intercourse and the use of the contraceptive. In these cases, time is especially precious, and waiting will only work against you. Now, let's get to how much emergency contraceptives cost. The cost ranges anywhere between $20 and $70. It really depends on where you look. Planned Parenthood offers a family pack plan for people with low incomes, like students. With this plan, you can get emergency contraceptives for free. Now, let's talk about the advantages and disadvantages of emergency contraceptives. The major advantage is that it can be used after sex. It's an important backup if something doesn't go according to plan. It's also relatively affordable and easy to take. The disadvantages vary from person to person. Some women report nausea and/or breast tenderness. It also doesn't protect against STIs, so extra tests may be needed to assess that. Your next period may be irregular. It may start late and you may experience spotting. Compared to other contraceptive methods, it doesn't have a very high success rate, even when taken appropriately. It is very time sensitive and becomes less and less effective the longer you wait. It also should not be used as a regular contraceptive method because it deregulates your menstrual cycle. There is a lot of controversy surrounding emergency contraceptives. Some feel that it is immoral because it kills the fetus. It is important to remember that emergency contraceptives do not work on fertilized eggs. They do not terminate pregnancy. They slow down or stop the process of the sperm reaching the egg. Some research has stated that emergency contraceptives can also block a fertilized egg from attaching to the uterine lining, but the evidence is conflicting, and newer research shows that emergency contraceptives are not effective after fertilization. It is also important to distinguish between emergency contraceptives and abortion pills. Abortion pills are taken to end an early pregnancy. They aid in uterine wall breakdown and cause heavy bleeding and cramping. This expels the fertilized egg from the uterus and usually looks and feels like a heavy period. Here are some final tips. Emergency contraceptives should only be used as a last resort. Don't use them as your primary contraceptive method. It's bad for your health and gets expensive over time. You don't have to wait until the morning after to take emergency contraceptives. The sooner you take them after intercourse, the better. Also, it might be a good idea to buy some emergency contraceptives in advance and keep them in your home in case you ever need them. Finally, if you have any doubt whether your contraceptive method failed and you don't want to get pregnant, be on the safe side and take an emergency contraceptive. Having an abortion is costly and can be painful, and having an unwanted child is not a fate I would wish on anyone. Thanks for watching, and I hope that you learned something new about emergency contraceptives.